Black people, once again, you are being told and shown. White people are showing you and telling you that you are less than them in their minds, that you are animals, that you need to be eradicated and exterminated. And black people, if you're not doing anything about it, then I guess I guess you deserve it. I guess because you don't want to make any changes or modifications to what you do in life. In Kansas City, a serial killer or serial killers have been kidnapping people, kidnapping women, torturing them, raping them, and murdering them. And the police are apparently, in my mind, I don't want to say apparently, but in my mind, the police are in on it. The police are fighting when the citizens go to them and say people are disappearing and we believe there's a serial killer. The police are just dismissing it. They're not even looking into it. If they looked into it, they would know, well, there are some girls that are missing. They could go to their family members or their friends and they would find out, well, yes, there's a handful of women that are not accounted for. They're missing, so maybe we should look into it. They didn't even do that. Why didn't they do that? They didn't do that because I believe they were in on it. They're in on it. The kidnapper and the rapist, once he was found, or once he was arrested, I'm sorry, once the story broke, rather, I believe the girl that escaped and broke the story, she said that the perpetrator perpetrator told her that black people are that he's doing this because he's involved in because there is a race war. Uh, Police officers are not gods who have come down from the heavens to take care of us and to help us. They are regular men and regular women, most of whom are underachievers, most of whom are failures in life. I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm not saying that to poke fun, and I'm not trying to disparage the police. I'm stating reality. A lot of police officers are people who failed in life, and so being a police officer is the next best thing for them. That doesn't mean that all police officers were failures in life. Some men and women sign up to become police because they just thought it was a good job. Some of them sign up, a very few sign up because they want to support their community. I agree with all that stuff, but a good portion of police officers are men and women who failed at life or who didn't even attempt to make something of themselves in life. So they signed up with this group because it was easy job that would give them good benefits and that would give them a good retirement and good pension. It was a good option for them because they had no other options. That's it. They were just regular men and women who were underachievers, failures, and losers. That's most of the police officers. Most of the police officers join this organization. They become criminals themselves. A lot of them, I believe, engage in robbery. That's why you have stop and frisk in a lot of the big cities. And the justice system knows about it and they allow it because they want to give their police officers, their security force, an outlet. So police officers will stop people if they find anything on someone that may be suspicious. They just take it and they tell the person, be quiet or I'll arrest you. And they pocket it and they go home and spend it. The reason they have these no-knock warrants, the reason they break into people's houses unexpectedly is because they're hoping that they will find a treasure trove of cash or maybe narcotics or property that they can sell. They will pocket and take most of the stuff and they will give in a very small percentage of it as evidence and lie and say this is what we found when in reality they pocketed probably 50 to 80% of the stuff, contraband that they found, and they use it themselves. They either sell it, or if it's cash, they just use it. They split it amongst themselves. They probably give it to some of the judges. Same thing with this race war stuff. A lot of these police officers, regular men and women, most of whom are underachievers and failures, they are resentful of a lot of people in our society, especially black people. And this race war that white people know more about and are paying more attention to than black people, a lot of the participants in this race war on the side of white people happen to be in law enforcement. Because failures and losers tend to be racists. Underachievers and losers tend to be racists. And they blame other people for the fact that they are a failure and a loser and an underachiever. So most of these cops are in on this stuff, I believe. Most of these cops in Kansas City more than likely knew what was going on. Hell, they probably engaged in some of the rape. This disgusting animal probably kidnapped women, kept them in his basement, and probably invited over people that he knew so that they could have sex with these people, with these kidnapped women who were defenseless and helpless. And that's why the cops were ignoring it. Because either they know that it was only happening to black people and they didn't care, or they knew the guy that was involved and they weren't going to punish him, or they were involved in it as well. And so, of course, they weren't going to go after it because they're involved in this stuff as well. Black people, you have to wake up and understand what's going on. You have people in high positions who are white, who hate the fact that you breathe every day. And they're doing everything that they can to destroy you. Of course, not all white people are bad. Not all white people are engaged in this. But enough of them are where it's a fucking problem. And every day examples are being given to you fucking idiots, and you don't fucking do nothing to change. You keep just talking and just doing stupid, nonsensical shit. You don't pay attention. I'm tired of making these videos, but I'm a stubborn idiot, and I'm going to keep making them. Maybe some people will see them, and and some traction will be made. I don't know. Maybe some changes will be made. I have no idea, but I'm just going to keep making them. You have to change something. Black people, you got to do something different. Stop buying things from people. Stop shopping. You have to change something. This system is run solely on money. All the stuff that happens is done because of money. All of the policies and laws, all of the things that happen in our government and our justice system that allow the negative and harmful things that happen to us, all of that stuff is controlled by money. Meaning, the politicians who put in policies and statutes and that control disciplinary action for people like the police, those people are controlled by money. They do what they do because someone that has money is telling them what to do. They're performing a job for a boss, and as much as people think it, the people that vote them into office are not their bosses. Wealthy white men and women are their bosses. They tell them what they should and shouldn't do. They tell them what they want them to do. Justice, the people in the justice system that are hired or elected into office, wealthy people control them via bribes. Policies are enacted or policies are ignored because people are being directed to by wealthy people. Those wealthy people have the money to bribe and control our politicians, our justice system, because we give it to them. We give them the money that they use every weekend when we go out and shop, when we go into these big businesses. We give them the money. These people use their money and they control our system. So if you want the police to be punished, you want the justice system to be punished, you can't just go to your politician and ask, because you're not their boss. You don't control them. You don't give them the amount of money that drew them to this job in the first place. You have to get the attention of the people that have been giving them this money. You have to get the attention of the people that are bribing these people, that control them. And the wealthy are the ones that control them. And the wealthy get their money because you go into these big stores and you pump the money into these businesses. The businesses then go into the bank accounts of these wealthy people, and the wealthy people use that money really to kind of control everything that happens, to control your life. That's why you don't have universal health care. That's why you don't have any sort of police reform. That's why black people don't have any protections against this kind of stuff. That's why we don't have climate change. That's why politicians, for some unknown reason, reasons unknown to us, take our money and decide they're going to go and buy weapons to go and give to people overseas instead of using the money to help us. That's why all this stuff happens, is because the wealthy people are in control. They use their money to bribe these people and tell them, well, this is what I want. It's going to help me, or it's going to help this person. So take this money and do what I tell you. The politicians, the people within our justice system, they say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the opportunity. Then they go out and say, you know what? I know I ran on a platform of providing a livable wage for everyone, but thank you for putting me in office, but now I've decided livable wage isn't feasible. So you know what? I'm not going to give you a livable wage. That's why that stuff happens. Because once you vote these people into office, the wealthy people who are going to have to pay the livable wage, and this is just an example, the wealthy people that have to pay the minimum wage, the livable wage, they go to the politicians, work out some sort of arrangement and say, I'm going to help you financially if you make sure I don't have to pay this livable wage to these employees. And the politician says, okay, you got it. Thank you. Then they come to the podium and say, yeah, sorry, I'm doing a 180. I can't help you anymore. I made a mistake. We'll have to figure something else out. Bye. It's the wealthy people are controlling all of this. And I'm saying all this to let black people know that you can get change if you pull your money from these big businesses. You obviously are not going to stop buying things in total. Nobody's going to stop doing that. But black people have to get in line and figure out that if I take the only bargaining chip that I have is the little bit of money that I pump into this system. Collectively, American black people collectively, that little bit of money that each of us spends in these big box stores, collectively, it's a big chunk of money. That's the only bargaining chip we have. We don't have enough money to bribe people. Nobody's going to spend money on bribing people. We don't have the numbers to fight physically. Chanting, marching, protesting, that doesn't work. Not voting, while I agree with not voting, that's not going to work. They'll just change the rules. They're in the process of doing that now. They're in the process of bringing in minorities so that they can get a vote. They'll just change those rules. The only thing that black people can do, that black people have control over, is by pulling your money. Go to work, pocket your money, put it in your account, just leave it there. If you need to buy anything, you have to go to smaller shops. You have to go to these small mom and pop stores. You have to take your money away from these big box stores, these big chains. Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, Burger King, all these different chains, Marshalls, Kroger, Publix, all the big stores that you see, the chain restaurants, the fast food stores, the big supermarkets, I don't shop a lot, so I don't know how to even describe this stuff. What do they call the fucking Macy's type stores? I don't even know. Department stores, all these big chain stores that you see in every city and in every state. Stop going to these stores. If enough of us black people do that, it will then get the attention of the wealthy people that control our politicians. Only then will the wealthy people tell the politicians, all right, go and find out what these niggers want because they're fucking up our money flow. Only then will you get somebody to listen to you. Until then, nobody's really paying attention to you. They're going to keep doing this stuff. This kind of shit is going to keep happening over and over again. Children being murdered in the streets, children being murdered in parks, men being shot in their chest while they're getting their ID, people being choked to death, black women being beaten to death by cops, people being kidnapped and raped, people being murdered for trying to just go into their apartment, people being murdered while they're in their own beds, in their houses for doing just for existing, people being murdered while eating ice cream and watching television, people being mysteriously lynched, kids being murdered and killed inside of white people's homes and nothing being done about it. This shit is going to keep happening over and over and over and over and over again because black people aren't making a change. They're just doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, like someone who's insane. Well, I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to put posts on Twitter, and that will get some change. I just took 2 seconds to type some bullshit, and that's going to do something. I'm going to make videos about it and sing, and maybe I'll have a rally. And what's the new thing? I'll do a pull-up summer thing event. And just keep doing the same shit over and over again. And the more I talk about it, the more things will change. No, you stupid imbecile. It's not going to change. It's going to keep happening. Black people, you have to stop shopping and you have to stop buying things. I don't know how many times I got to make these videos. I guess it doesn't really matter. You have to make a change. Kansas City police, I don't think they ignored anything. I think they knew what was going on. They knew what was happening, and more than likely, I believe they were probably involved in it as well. Watch that movie. You know, when movies and television shows are the fictional ones, it's fiction, but a lot of it's based on reality and based on things that happen in the real world. So, you know, if you watch things like, for example, Pulp Fiction, that scene where Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames are kidnapped and taken into that cellar or that room or wherever it was. The guy chained them up, and then a few hours later, the police officer shows up and they rape them. They rape Ving Rhames. That a lot of this shit is based in reality. Just these people think, well, it's a police officer, so they're not gonna do anything bad. They're not a bad person. They for some unknown reason they believe police officers are inherently good. I don't know why. They're just men and women who have a job. Police officers get involved in a lot of this sick stuff. Doesn't get by me that I'm sorry. It doesn't. In my mind, it's not far-fetched that this animal would be kidnapping people, and then a police officer or police officers on their day off or after the shift, I'm horny, I want to go fuck somebody, goes to this guy's basement and rapes these women with him. And then when people complain, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing to see here. Go about your business. That's what I believe happened. And if it didn't happen that way, well, it's still bad that these police officers were ignoring this stuff when people said something. So black people, you got to make a change. This stuff's going to keep happening. White people are going to keep doing this and getting away with it. The police will excuse it because they're not making mistakes. They're doing it on purpose. So you got to make a change. You got to stop shopping. Change something. Pull your money from these big chain stores, and it's only then that you'll get the attention of the people that matter. Stop shopping. This is a disgusting fucking story.